Hello and welcome to the Goodness Reigns Film School. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about using your iPhone for video. Now, many people think that to be on YouTube now you have to have a very high quality camera, and that's simply not true. It is good to have good quality, but if you have content and you have value that people want, people are willing to watch and to listen. There are YouTubers that I watch that don't edit their videos at all, really. I know one guy has over 1 million subscribers. He sits in his car eating burgers. It's nothing fancy. It's over 12 minutes of content and he's got 1 million subscribers. Why? Because he's giving something that his audience, that his community wants. Now, it is important to do the best you can to present yourself, good video quality, good audio quality. And so I'm gonna show you what you can do to improve the quality of your video using your phone. So I'm gonna be using an iPhone 8. I'm not currently filming on it because it's in my hand. The reason why I'm recommending the phone is because generally speaking, phones have better cameras than laptops. So many laptops, Apple laptops, will have like a 720p camera facing back at you. My iPhone 8 Plus has a 4K camera that can shoot in 4K 60p. And what 4K will allow you to do is to crop in and still show a high resolution HD video. So we're gonna be using an iPhone in this case. What you need to do to have good quality video is you have to have a decent camera. We've got that. We have to have some lighting source. I am using a window. You can also use a window, or you can use a lamp, or you can use whatever lighting fixtures that you have. The larger the light source, the softer that the light will be, so keep that in mind. You will also need something to put your camera in. In this case, I grabbed a Joby Grip Tight Mount Pro. I don't know how much it cost. It was about 20 bucks. I got it at Best Buy. For audio is very important. That's one of the most important things. We've seen videos that were in black and white, but the audio is very important. If people cannot hear what you're saying, then how can you communicate your message adequately? So it's very important to have decent audio. You should pick up some microphone that you can get close to your mouth. And so for phones, there are many options. In this case, I'm using an Audio Technica. It was about $20. I got it off of B&H. You can also get it off of Amazon. I know that there's some by other companies. There's one by a company called Aperture. There's one by Rode, which is a very high quality microphone. It's about $60 to $70, but these will help a lot in getting a better source for audio. Because I'm using an iPhone and my iPhone only has the Lightning port, I have an adapter. I don't know where mine went, so I got an adapter. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead, switch to the phone, and we'll continue our conversation. Okay, I've now switched over to my iPhone. I wanted you to hear what it sounds like with the audio directly from the phone. I'm gonna now switch to using the microphone that I showed you earlier. I have now switched over to using the Audio Technica wired lavalier microphone, and the audio sounds much better. Now, I'll be honest, I am gonna tweak this in post-production so that it can sound better to my ear. Now, this was the cheapest of the microphones that I could find. If I was going to be using my phone as my primary video camera, I would most likely spend a little bit more to get the Aperture or the Rode Smart Lav. I would also get these things from B&H Photo, Amazon, or Adorama, places where they have good return policies in case I find that I don't like the way it sounds or it doesn't work with my device. Now, the setup that I currently am using, I'm using my phone, I'm using a wired microphone. I think that this would work for many people. I have a large window here. I mentioned earlier that a large light source will make the light look more flattering and softer. One thing you want to avoid when you're recording is don't have a light on behind you, because that backlighting will make your face look darker. Also, I've turned off the lights in my office. Why? Because those lights from above going down on my big Neanderthal forehead would give me raccoon eyes, and I don't like the way that looks. So I would recommend having a light behind your camera or slightly off to the side. See, I look better if I had the camera here, this light would fall better on my face, but I have the camera facing this direction simply because I have a mess back here and I don't want you to be distracted by it. So this kind of setup, even if you're using your laptop, will work well. Decent lighting, better audio quality, not the onboard microphone. Have the microphone as close to your mouth as possible, and do some tweaking in post-production if necessary. Now, there are a couple of other tips that I have. If you go into your camera settings, most phones will have the option to film in 24p, 30p, or 60p. For filming the talking head portion of whatever you're filming, I recommend 24p if you have that option, simply because it looks more filmic and less like video or less like reality. If possible, I would recommend filming B-roll for whatever video you're making if it's just going to be a talking head when possible, simply because it'll add visual variety. And you'll find that in many circumstances, your phone will be good enough. So I would recommend filming traditional type of B-roll movements. So simply holding your camera, panning from left to right, or tilting up and down with your body, and you'll find that this is gonna be good enough, anything to raise your production level. And most your cell phones have built-in stabilization, but it's gonna look a little bit wobbly. Well, let me help you. How can I make your footage look even smoother? Well, I mentioned earlier 60p. 60p will allow you to slow your footage down by up to 50% or even a little bit more, depending on what your final timeline is. And it will look more cinematic because slow motion things look cinematic. It will look smoother because those jitters that you might experience are going to be dragged out and won't be so abrupt. I have mixed cell phone footage with professional video footage. I made a video on praying before meals, and I filmed the video with a Sony a7 III full frame camera. But I did not want to bring that camera into the restaurant to film my children praying before meals, mostly because the restaurant owner might say, "Hey, what are you doing with this camera? We don't allow filming in here." And I say, "Hey man, it's just my YouTube," and they wouldn't understand. So I got my phone, I held it still, I just tilted and panned like this, or because it's in 4K, I could just do a slow digital zoom in and out, and nobody noticed the difference. Nobody said, "Hey man, why is there cell phone footage mixed in here?" Nobody said that. Why not? Because I added a color grade, so I tried to make the colors match. Anytime you want to make your footage look more cinematic, you can add a color grade. Many of the times muted colors look more cinematic to people. So mess with the colors, or what I also did was I added bars at the bottom, bars at the top. That's called a letterbox. Anytime you do slow motion, color grading, letterbox, people are like, "Whoa, look so cinematic," even if you film it with your iPhone. So let me recap. The most important thing that you're gonna need is good audio, decent lighting when you're trying to do a talking head type of thing. You can also make your footage look more cinematic by adding a letterbox, by adding a color grade, by filming any B-roll shots in 60p and then slowing them down in post-production. So if you're not going to be doing like talking head stuff and you really are trying to be really cinematic with your phone, there are apps that you can use like Filmic Pro or ProFilm that will allow you to control the exposure, to control where it focuses, because sometimes the phone, the exposure will jump all over the place and it doesn't look as professional. Another benefit of using an app is that you can set the white balance and you won't have to worry about the camera's auto white balancing function. But to be honest, I don't think that many people notice. And I want to emphasize again that story matters most. Like my cell phone now shoots in 4K. One of my favorite movies, The Song of Bernadette, was filmed in black and white. It definitely was not in 4K, yet it kept me engaged the entire time because story comes first. Content is the most valuable thing. I listen to a YouTube channel called Sensus Fidelum. Often they barely have images that go across. Their audio quality is very cracky, but because what they're saying is so valuable to me, I just listen even if I have to strain my ear to hear what they're saying. Why? Because content is king in the end. We must do the best we can to try to make our content more engaging for the viewer, but in the end, your best is your best. Let God take care of the rest. The devil will tempt you to say, "Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, your video quality is not good enough. Don't even try." I started out making YouTube videos in my car using my cell phone, and I built up a community slowly over time. And again, it's not about the numbers, but that's how I started. And that's how many people start, and that's okay. If you feel that God is calling you to make videos, just start making videos. The number one thing that I would recommend first, besides getting, lighting or some sort of microphone, would be prayer. Because in prayer, you're gonna get these inspirations of the Holy Spirit that will help you give better messages. In prayer, you're gonna feel God say, "Hey, make a sacrifice. buy a microphone if that's what He's calling you to do. In prayer, God calls us to deny ourselves, and sometimes that means buying better equipment if it's genuinely His will. I do want to remind you, we do have a contest going on. To find out more information about this contest, go to goodnessreigns-contest.com, or you can check out the Goodness Reigns Film School. We have a video that promoted the contest, but the deadline has changed. It is no longer July the 1st, 2018. It is now September 30th, 2018. There's many prizes that you can win. And I hope you'll subscribe to this channel, the Goodness Reigns Film School. God bless you, God love you, and share the story.